talking here with a very important young man that was diagnosed with malignant melanoma in 2012. And he came to the clinic. He's married. He's from Guatemala, and he's doing very well, doing the GERSON therapy and this important disease that affected his life. We were wondering when we started this talk that who would direct you to the GERSON therapy or the GERSON nutritional program. But before you get to that part, why don't you start and tell us your story, how it was diagnosed, when, and how this all began?
Okay. So I've had a few health issues with melanoma since 4 years ago. It all began about October of 2012. I had a small mole in my left eye that I was scratching, that it was ulcerated. When my dermatologist saw it, he immediately thought it was melanoma, and he removed it, and it came back positive for melanoma. And he said the margins were clear. You have nothing to worry about. It was melanoma in situ. So I went on with my life, and three months later, in January of 2013, the melanoma came back in the scar, and so he was more worried that the cancer had returned. So we did a wide excision. The scar that I have in my thigh is about this big, about more than 3 inches wide, and that was melanoma stage 2. So there we decided to go with my mom to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester in the United States, and they redid the pathology. It came back positive for melanoma. The margins were clear. I did my first PET scan there, and I didn't have any FDG uptake in my lymph nodes. They were all clear and no other metastases. So they just recommended I go back home. I get a good dermatologist that cared for me. I take care of the son.
No diet changes.
No diet changes. No major lifestyle improvements or changes. And they were, if it comes back, we'll be here to help you out. And I wasn't too convinced when I left. And then about a year and a half later, in October of 2014, I felt an inflamed area in my left groin near the lymph nodes. And at first I didn't think much of it, but when I went to check with my dermatologist, he immediately thought that it could be melanoma. So I got my first lymph node removed, and it came positive for melanoma again. I tried to do a few lifestyle changes at home by myself, but it didn't work. And 2 months later, I got another inflammation in that same area in December of 2014. So I got 2 more lymph nodes removed, and they were positive for melanoma. And I told the surgeon I didn't want any more lymph nodes removed, so just take 1 or 2 necessary to find out if it's still melanoma. And that was when I decided to do GERSON therapy, and I applied to come here in January of 2015.
January 9th, 2015.
Yes, I came for 2 weeks. And I found out about the GERSON therapy through a relative of mine from Colombia, who had done GERSON therapy to cure melanoma stage 3 that he had in his crane. Yes, he was about my same age when he came, and I met up with him in right before I started GERSON, and he was doing really well. He had been 8 years cancer free. He never went back to another doctor. He never did a PET scan, so I think he never knew at what point it left. But he did GERSON for about 20 months. And he's still doing a bit of juicing and a bit of the protocol. So that's who I found out about the therapy.
Very good. Very good. How was your experience when you're here in the clinic those 2 weeks at the beginning? Was it difficult? Was it hard, the change?
The change, I don't think it was too hard because we were already changing our diet back home. I think it was very easy to come here and get the help, get everyone to make the juices for you and learn to see how the food is supposed to be cooked. Having daily consultations with you was really helpful to solve a lot of the questions. And I wanted to come here to the clinic to be able to get the follow-up from the official doctors because you guys are the ones that have seen the most cases. So I think that was my main reason to come here. I didn't have any healing reactions in the 2 weeks that I was here, and those occurred about I started in January and they occurred in June. So about 5 to 6 months after I started the therapy, I had my first healing reactions.
How was that reaction?
At first it was awful. I hadn't realized I was getting a healing reaction. I was driving home and I was feeling really, really tired at noon. And I started to feel nauseous. A few of the days, it lasted for about 10 days on and off. Some days were more intense, but I almost wanted to vomit. I lost a bit of appetite for the juices. I was really, really tired. I was getting angry. I was getting depressed. I was getting mood swings that I wasn't used to.
Beautiful.
And so a few days in, I realized that they all matched the healing reactions from the literature from Dr. Gerson. So after that, I decided to do a PET scan in August of 2015. So I had done a PET scan right before I started GERSON, and they had seen that I had 2 lymph nodes with an FTG uptake, but I didn't have any other metastases. And when I did the PET scan in August of 2015, last year, it was completely clear. There was no FTG uptake in any of the lymph nodes or any part of the body. So I was obviously really happy with the results.
What did your dermatologist say when he was seeing all these good results?
He was really impressed. At first he said he doubted what I was doing and he didn't believe in these kind of practices because he had recommended I go to an oncologist. But now he's really impressed. He said my skin has changed a lot. A lot of the moles, some of them have even started to reverse, to decrease in intensity and color.
So that dermatologist became a believer.
Yes, I think he's still very conventional dermatologist, but he's sent me a few of his patients with melanoma to call me to see the other options that people can do. Yes.
Things change in time. Right?
Things do change.
Tell me more about those flare-ups or healing reactions, because we were speaking before we started this that you had some important healing reactions in January and December.
See, right, January of this year, 2016.
And one in August that was also pointed out, one very good one in August. But tell me the one you had in Christmas.
See, the one that was really strong was in January of 2016. I got a fever right a year after I had started the therapy, and it was pretty much the only fever I have gotten during the therapy. We were in a road trip with my wife, and I was driving, and suddenly my back started feeling really warm, my head as well, my teeth started chattering, and I was feeling really, really tired. So I stopped driving, and I realized that something was going on. It lasted for about 36 hours, that I was really tired and I had a high fever. And then after that, it completely went away, and I felt really good. And the days before that, I felt really good as well. So it all matches with another healing reaction.
Could you tell us also these changes in the scar of the melanoma? What changes have you seen in the scar?
The scar, well, about a month after at first, it was all a very purple. It was like raw skin. And then about a month into the therapy, I noticed that it started to get red. A few patches of the scar were getting red, and then suddenly it started going into a whiter, more skin color, and it was starting to go into a more harder skin, because at first it was very soft, very raw skin. And in about a year's time, it's almost completely healed into
We call that a localized healing reaction. The other one you mentioned before was a systemic healing reaction that many patients get off and on. Very good, very good. So how's your weight? How's your weight? Your weight been under control these last 15 months doing the therapy?
Well, before I started the therapy, right, I was weighing 137 pounds. I was really underweight. I didn't know what to eat when I started getting the cancer, so I was changing a lot of diets. And right after I started, my weight went up to about 140, 143. Then it went down a few pounds, and now it stayed at around 140.
Now you're stable with your weight.
I'm stable. I wish I could increase it a bit, but obviously I'm...
Yeah, there's several of us who always say that, but I think you've always been a thin, athletic person all your life.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes, and my energy levels have been really good. I took a 10-day trip to Peru, and I was hiking a bit. I stopped a bit the therapy, but I had a lot of fun. And
Why don't you tell us about how did everybody in the family do in that trip versus you?
Well, the other people that traveled with me got diarrhea most of the trip, and I was the only one with a good digestion with no diarrhea. and I felt really well throughout the whole trip. And I'm also back home. I'm working almost full time, so I'm a pretty active person, and I managed to do the therapy and my work.
How has your family embraced the therapy? Have they embraced it? Are they doing some of the at least the nutritional part?
My wife does take a few juices and an enema once a while, which makes her headaches go away really fast.
Very good for migraines, as they say.
And she feels really healthy. And
your wife mentioned something very interesting before we started this interview, that your life has changed completely in many aspects. She mentioned.
Sí.
Like, for example?
It all has. Well, I think when you have a proper nutrition and a healthy lifestyle, your mood increases, your attitude increases. It changed a lot. I used to be an angrier person. I used to be more reactive.
Now you're stable, more alkaline.
Yeah, now I feel it's harder for me to get angry, and I'm happier in general. So I think it does help with the mood as well. Your attitude changes with.
Besides the surgical scar, have you noticed your skin, the whole skin change, or your hair?
Well, I did notice I turned a bit orange halfway through the therapy, so I had a really nice golden glow.
Orange conversations we used to have.
So I think from what I read, that's also a sign of detoxification. And now I think I returned to a normal, healthy color. But yeah, I have felt my skin way better since I started the therapy. It's
very good. You also, during these last 15 months, also had some a fight with an episode of fungal infections that you had developed one time or twice.
Sí, when I had a fungal infection in my back that it was really hard to.
At the beginning, right?
Sí, it was really hard to treat, and I had to take a special shampoo for it.
The Hoffman solution you were.
It was a Hoffman liquor, which helped a bit, but it was ketoconazole, a special shampoo with antibiotic that I had to take at the end to remove it.
Very good.
So I had
the fungal infection right now.
It's completely gone.
Completely gone.
Yeah, it hasn't come back.
Very good.
Yeah.
So would you recommend the GERSON nutritional program for other types of disease or melanomas? If you were to recommend it, you would recommend it?
Yes. Yeah. For melanoma, which is my case, I would definitely recommend it because I saw very fast improvements. I got proof from the PET scans.
What did the doctor say in Baylor?
In Baylor, I didn't talk to the doctors, just the radiologist.
What did the radiologist say in Baylor University?
Well, they were pretty excited with the results.
I still remember in my mind that picture that we were jumping between the trees, that you were so happy, and of course your wife was also jumping there. There were two very beautiful pictures that I still carry in my heart and my memory. That it's beautiful to see anybody, young or old or middle, or to have such a great success with such a difficult disease as melanoma is, as you know. So I'm very happy that you came. I've been counting the hours and days to see you and to talk to you and have this beautiful interview with your wife and your family that helped you. I still have in my mind that picture of you when you were celebrating your birthday. Remember that picture?
Sí.
This beautiful picture he took when he was celebrating a beautiful birthday cake, a GERSON cake, of course, and all these little things that you send me in the letters and the emails and our conversations in Spanish and now in English made everything worthwhile. I'm very happy that you had the time
to come back and
the privilege to come and talk with us a little.
Well, I'm glad to share my experience so other people can see there's a different way to healing.
Very good.
Not just
Would you like to add something else? Because you're a very important part of this. We're talking to our wife right here on the side. Why don't you come in and sit and just say a couple of words, because you're very important. I always say that the therapy is a group therapy, it's a family therapy, and the team makes it, the love of the family makes it better and stronger, the therapy. And I see you are a great example of a picture of a young couple doing a difficult thing. It's not easy, but you're doing very well, and I can see it in your eyes, in your face, in your teeth, in your skin, in your hair. So why don't you share a little about your experience?
A little bit of something. Wow. Well, I think what strikes me the most about this therapy is how much of a global change has occurred in our lives. And he mentioned it a little bit, but really everything about our lives has become better. And I mean, I don't want to sound like an advertisement for this, but
just say what you feel.
it's just been such an exciting transition, from seeing from eating just kind of like what we thought was healthy to eating something so delicious. I look forward to coming home and eating whatever Tatiana has made for us.
Our cook.
And and our cook, she's amazing.
I would like to meet her one day.
Yeah, she's great. But yeah, and like finding new recipes and getting excited about our food and going to the market together, and everything about the therapy
It's
has
a beautiful
really
experience.
Yeah, it is, and it really
to
has
become green and to go back to nature.
Yeah, and it resonates a lot with my background, and I think
What is your
it really
background?
solidified
What
our
is your
relationship. I do edible landscaping. Well, I
Edible landscaping.
I studied sustainable agriculture, and I've always been passionate about food systems. So I think that's why I say in everything our relationship has gotten stronger, because now we are interested about the same things. We enjoy the same kind of meals. We just have a great
It's a beautiful
half
half orange, half moon, half sun connection. So I'm very happy that you're living the
Yes.
life, living the dream, and this guy's gonna be here for a long time with you and with the help of the heavens, and we'll keep on doing the therapy for the next 5 or 9 more months to complete a 2-year program,
Yeah.
and then we'll continue on a modified GERSON program with the help of everybody in this equation and in this successful case.
Sounds
I don't
good.
like even call it a case. It's a special story.
Yeah.
I know you're not a case. You're a story. You're a person
Successful
living
person.
it and doing it. You're a GERSON person.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to add something else.
No, I think that people should, when you get a cancer diagnosis, I think that people should take matters into their own hands and start to investigate and read a lot and watch. I'm constantly still reading books about nutrition and finding out more, and I get a lot of calls from people that are just been diagnosed with cancer sometimes, and so I give them tips and share what I've learned. But I think that
Very
people
good.
should start to get health into their own hands.
Sharing is very important. That's why we're doing this interview, so more people can listen and see these stories are very important. I wish I could interview everybody or have a compendium of all these great stories, of these great successful stories.
That'd be great.
Now before we finish, I'd like just to thank you for coming, both
Of course,
you, and
that's our
thank the
pleasure.
GERSON Institute, and thank the clinic in Tijuana here, your clinic, your house, your home, and thank you to Dr. Melendez, that is one of my teachers, and to Charlotte Gerson, that she taught me many things. We miss her dearly. I hope she's doing well. And I think it was a very, very good talk we had.
Yeah,
Okay,
well, thank
thank
you
you
so much too.
for
Well, I
hosting.
do my
All
job.
your-
I do my part, and you guys do your part. And
Yeah.
as a team, we work together.
Yeah,
And that's the
well,
way it should be.
Your passion is really important too.
Life, passion, struggle, fight, victory. I live and love to fight for my patients,
Yeah, we can tell.
because I learned
Yeah.
from my patients many things also.
Mhm.
That will make me a more complete doctor and a complete person.
Yeah. Well, thank
Okay.
you for everything.
Well,
Yeah.
that big applause for you. Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
And for
Very good.
you.